Last month I had almost 3 inches of rainfall in just 30 minutes, and most of that was within a 10-minute window. It was pouring buckets. Over the last 2 episodes I've shown you how all of the earthworks have performed across the Dust Ups Ranch. Terraces, swales, dirt bathtubs, check dams, big dams. The one thing I have not shown you is the Beaver Dam Analogues and all of the seeds and the clay and the water and the organic material that successfully built up behind those. Join me for a short tour as Brandon shares the success and some of the failures of our Beaver Dam Analogues. Our goal is to build a desert forest, and rehydrating the soil is a key first step in doing that. Shall we?
Let's.
All right. I think we ought to just start in Dove Alley.
Okay.
May as well take the new road.
Haven't been over here since you found the dozer.
I hit caliche in this spot, so I just moved dirt over here to make it higher instead of digging down.
Nice. Did you take any pictures of the devil's head flowers yesterday?
I didn't appreciate how brief they were.
They were so brief.
Priority.
That's why I was telling you about it yesterday morning.
Yeah, I mean, it was literally a 2-day thing. They're so pretty. Oh, here's one.
They'll open back up when the sun's up.
Yeah, but
they won't be as quite as lovely as yesterday, but they'll still be a real big splash of color around noon today.
Oh, they were gorgeous.
That's a particularly fat one.
Yeah, it is. Looks like a little living cistern.
Indeed.
All right.
All right, there's the first BDA. We made the ones by the terrace first, but this is the first one down here that we're getting to. I mean, I could tell walking up to it that the water had washed over the top. The water had already gone down.
We see all the organic material.
Yeah, and it was over the top real quick, and it began to go down.
But look at all the germination behind it. Like, you can see all this stuff.
Yep, and you can see all the grama in all the places water ran is green.
Yeah, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, green grass, there's germinations all behind it.
So you can tell
Oh yeah.
all this fluff that it deposited.
Yeah.
So you can see it up here on the top. You can see it went over.
Yeah.
And then if you go to the side, you can probably see a line of debris even though it's been a while.
Yeah, I see one right there.
See, it's out here, so all that.
Yeah. That's definitely the greenest grass we've had out here my entire time.
And you can see it flushed down right here.
Yeah.
It was going down. You could see the whirlpool in the video, I think, probably, that I took. It's making it through pretty easily. Look at all that debris it caught. So it washed under pretty effectively once it washed out a little bit of dirt.
Yeah.
So we fill that in, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. It surely slowed the water down and kept a lot of that that duff that would have washed down.
This desert olive, I was worried about it, but it looks phenomenal.
Oh yeah. You don't see a lot of it.
No. I'm delighted.
That's
I thought
lovely.
That was a goner. Oh, actually, no. There's another one down there that is way bigger.
That was the one you were worried about more?
Yeah, it's huge for a desert olive.
These are nice. They look like thistle flowers, almost exactly, don't they? Get the same little yellow tuft at the end and
Pretty.
that pollen. Interesting.
Yeah. So we're 2 weeks after the rain.
Coming up on the next one.
They're washing out right in the center.
Mm-hmm. Right, wherever the deepest spot is. I guess Ugh, there's nothing worse than melting plastic. I feel like we drive in more vertical at the bottom, cut a bunch of stakes just like that thick, and go put some long ones in before starting the, you know how we started with weaving the big old branches through, and then I stuck stuff down in and stuff, but I think to help the washout, we got to drive it deeper. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I like the idea of taking the willow.
You got to start with the vertical staves first, and
yeah, we have the big ones and then the small ones.
Hammer them in if we can. Have little stakes.
It does make it plausibly easier because at least, I don't know what's under this, but because there has been some clay in this area, if we get lucky that where there's clay underneath, you can, it's realistic in 3 months to drive those stakes in, whereas if it's sand, it's going to cement again. Because you can't use any power tools on a piece of desert willow. Love that hedgehog.
Mm-hmm.
Those flowers are really pretty too, but they really don't compare to the...
They don't have quite the sunset splash of the pink and yellow, and man, the devil's head it's just about the prettiest flower that I've ever seen. And maybe it's partly the context.
Maybe.
About standing in so much brown.
Yeah, it's definitely the context, but it is a really pretty flower. Also, more precious because it never doesn't last.
Let's cut this way, and well, that was it. Now that I think of it, right on this stretch. So now we go up the wash. There's a huge amount of water coming down the little washes that we passed on the way here.
A lot of water came down this wash?
Yes, very much. From camp all the way here. Every time there was anything deeper than this little spot, there was a river.
I was wondering if you knew how much flow was in this channel.
Not at all, but that'll be apparent when we
look at the BDAs.
Partially. There's a lot of channel length for the flow to strengthen below them.
Sure.
From that right there, and from what we're standing on right here, that we wouldn't see the accumulation on the BDAs above. It's not just in the channels. I was noticing over on the east side of the road, just south of camp, there's some green grama there too. Really everything channeled. At the peak of it, there wasn't a spot on the ground that wasn't like water rushing over it.
I believe it.
For a brief few minutes. But we're interested in the sinking in of the water.
Absolutely. Is that where a future BDA goes?
No, it's just where those are. I mean, I guess a future BDA can go there. Those were the only posts I elected not to transport, since they're not hard to find there. And there's so many. They're closer to their final resting place than they would be if I brought them back to the pile.
Out here, I pour all of my energy into caring for this land, and I realize that I don't do the same thing for my privacy. A quick online search for my name showed home addresses, family relations, phone numbers, personal details about my life and my family, all floating around on the sites of data aggregators that I'd never heard of. And that is when I discovered Incogni. This site does all of the legwork for you, getting your name off of all of the data aggregators, and it all happens automatically. I signed up just as I was scrambling to get all my personal information off the internet. And then within days, I got a whole bunch of removal alerts that Incogni submitted on my behalf. These brokers harvest and sell your data, and that leads to endless robocalls, piles of junk mail, and in the worst case scenario, identity theft. But you don't have to sit back and accept it. I spend hours online each day, uploading videos, digging into research, and of course managing dust-ups. And I refuse to live with the worry that every click is building an online dossier of my interests and habits. Incogni hands the power back to you, so you can focus on what really matters without worrying about who's tracking you in the background. Right now, if you head to incogni.com/dustups, use the code dustups, and you're gonna get 60% off of the annual plan. Just sign up, grant Incogni to do all of the legwork, contacting the data brokers to get you removed. You sit back, enjoy your privacy. It's straightforward, budget-friendly, and honestly, there's nothing like knowing you're off the grid, both online and offline.
Okay, coming up on one.
I don't see any major damage on this one.
Oh yeah. You can see the clay deposited all the way up here. On this one, it didn't wash around. Looks like it stopped right here. You see the line of debris that's below the top?
Oh yeah, you're right. We had water coming down from over there, I think, though, because I see.
For sure. Yeah, it came this way and went right behind the BDA.
I think this path, though, because there's germination popping up right behind it.
Sure. It would have come down here too, though, everywhere. It didn't have a visible washout. Kind of more of a seep. You can still see a little cut here. There's still some flow, but better.
For sure. But nothing growing behind it. I don't see it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there we are.
Yeah,
Something.
That's the olive too, I believe. No, it's creosote. Which my breath could use it right now. You can see it flowed. I can see the grass laid down. All the grama on the edge is green.
You know, this is a white thorn acacia. I didn't know that we actually had a decent sized one here.
There you go.
We gotta prune this one at some point to get it going up.
I want to see if these for this little tough stuff work okay for just passing by. If one's in my way, how big of a thing I can do with these wire cutters because they're so compact, you know. Not super easy. It's something though. I can do
It's an option.
It's good for the little stuff, which is enough to clear where I can whack a stick with the knife and get by. I like it. What do you think about Ocotillo transplants on a terrace if I was to dig up stuff like this? Because I don't think it would be tough to get the whole taproot on that.
I don't want you to dig up stuff that is growing over here, but if you, like for stuff that we have to move out of the way, like if we're digging a swale or making a dam, absolutely.
All right.
But I don't want to just go poking it.
Okay.
Whoa, look at the size of that one.
Oh yeah, they do that.
That thing's enormous.
Not as attractive as the cylindrical looking ones.
No, it's got some age marks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I love these desert olives so much, but...
Are the berries it makes edible or what?
They do make edible fruits, but they're, I don't think especially noteworthy. I just like them because they stay green in some pretty harsh circumstances. Obviously not our drought, but
Nothing that persists out here is not tough, right?
correct.
For instance, a desert cottontail, a lot tougher skin on it than a swamp rabbit I've found just recently. But my sample size is 1, so take that for what it is.
Looks like it held up well.
Great.
And it was perfectly placed. You can see where water channeled like right down this cattle trail or whatever it is, but it fell exactly behind the dam.
I think it's more on the downhill side. That's where the low spot is there. But you know, there's no shortage of water to fill this up.
No,
as you can see from the line of the material that it left and all that silt that it deposited.
we got stuff growing. You want to do this channel?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, let's try not to walk on the uphill part where all the germinations are happening and just treat it like a seed bed.
The uphill part being...
Of the Beaver Dam.
Oh, got it. A lot of green grass.
Yes, there is. You can see where it flowed through the middle.
Mm-hmm. Down underneath the massive boulder that's right on that middle on this side. Just went underneath it, around it. But you can see the water came up.
I think this is the last one for this channel, right?
I think so.
I don't think did this one let any water go?
Yeah, not as dramatically, but uphill, not quite as much water buildup.
It looks like it caught a bunch of, or upstream, a lot of your pile of rocks that are down there.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like they caught a couple of cow.
You can see the silt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's higher than I realized.
See, when you look at how smooth those rocks are,
Yeah.
all that got put on top. And got all kinds of little germinations here.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I'll walk around to your side and we'll go over the nub.
All right.
The whole channel is just filled with silt.
Yeah.
It's great.
The second and third will have lots more with the big walls on this wash. There's one.
Huh? There's a little bit of...
Yeah. I'm happy not to have put quite as much material on this as the other ones now, because it wouldn't have mattered. It only came up, it looks like the water didn't come up above here. You can see your check dams were effective. You can see the silt behind them where it's smooth.
Cool. And I've got a bunch of desert willow and catfly acacia trees thrown in all those check dams. So.
Cool. This hole here?
Yeah.
That's a hole, all right.
See, what's different is that used to be sand. Well, obviously it still is mostly sand, but on top at least there's now silt and clay.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
So we slowed it down enough, and that waterfall is now not destroying everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna take a long time for that to fill back in, but whole layer of silt. Visually, it's completely different from the way it used to be, because this was all exposed rocks, and now they're getting buried.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the last one.
Is this number 3 from this wash?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is.
I think so.
It might be 2. I think it's 2. I think there's one more after this. Yeah.
Yeah. That one piled up reasonably high and no blowout. Yeah, it's funny, I'm starting to see everything differently. Like I always talked about how there's no trees, but I really need to come through here and just
Prune
some of this stuff and get it going up. Now that especially it's got a better water source and the gallon hours are going to be dramatically higher.
There's one more right before the fork.
These are the biggest Candalia on the ranch. I thought these were trees. These are shrubs. They normally don't grow more than like 3 feet. But look at the size of those trunks.
They got 6.
I love seeing the local vegetation building some beaver dams for us. Ocotillo up ahead.
Oh yeah. It caught some stuff, yeah.
That's pretty cool. don't have to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
This one did amazing.
Yep. More water buildup downhill, so.
I love seeing that pile of just organic matter there. It all just looks like beautiful stuff.
Precious detritus.
Yes, it is.
Or detritus. Why do I feel compelled to say both? Everybody knows what I'm talking about.
But overall, they did their job. They got water pooling up behind them and soaked it in the ground. So, although 2 of them are damaged and need a little attention, very encouraging. The best evidence is that plants are growing right behind them. No seeds, no extra effort after we put them in. So, little victories, they pile up.